This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, Atlanta. Apple is open for small business. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. With privacy and security built in on all devices, it's easy for you to protect your customers' data. And if you need hardware or software support, you'll get advice from business experts at no cost whatsoever. So you can focus more on the soup du jour and less on, the other stuff. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouthwatering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Great day to be a Rams fan, isn't it? Going to recap the Rams' big win over the Vikings here, hand out some game balls, Fearsome Four Big Plays, all the good stuff that we typically do the day after the game. But hey, how about our Rams? You're saying there's a chance the Rams could come home with a Super Bowl title this year? Yes, there is a chance. There are some challenges ahead. Philadelphia Eagles will be a really tough out for our Rams, but let's just enjoy this as they prepare for a trip to Philadelphia. What a game, what a performance by our Rams. And how far have they come after starting 1-4? They had a 3-game winning streak, beating the Raiders, Vikings, and Seahawks. Remember that overtime win against the Seahawks? That was such a critical win. Then they lost to the Dolphins, had a ho-hum win over the Patriots, and then they lost to these Eagles, with the running back Barkley having a really big day. And then wins over the Saints, Bills, 49ers, Jets, and Cardinals. Then half their backups anyways lost to the Seahawks in a close game. And then they knock out the Vikings 27-9. You can call this a 6-game winning streak if we throw out the loss to the Seahawks, which we should. After that loss to the Eagles, they got in that shootout with the Bills, gave up 42 points. Then they gave up just 14 to the Saints. And since then, throwing out that Seahawks game, where a lot of starters did not play, they have given up 6, 9, 9, and 9 points. This defense is on a rise here. And yes, if they beat the Eagles, there's a chance they can return home, host a game against the Commanders. Yes, it could happen. We'll get into that Eagles game in our roundtable. It's going to be tough. I'm extremely happy with where this team is right now, as we all should be. But let's not fool ourselves. The Eagles are going to be a really tough matchup for this team, but not counting our Rams out, that would be a big mistake. Hey, remember my keys to victory? 2 of them I was pretty spot on. They kind of go hand in hand, though. We had to make Sam Darnold miserable. Wow, I think we did. Sam Darnold did not look like a happy camper after this game, and we had to limit Jefferson, not let him go off on us. And as miserable as we made Darnold back there trying to find open receivers, Jefferson really had no chance. And I also said this game could sway on 4th down decisions, and I was thinking the Rams deciding if they should go for it, for going long Joshua Carty field goals. And it was really a 4th down decision by the Vikings that turned this game. was already going in the Rams' favor, but that decision to go for it at the end of the first half near midfield, and it was a big factor in this Rams runaway win. Now, as far as the injuries, there were 3 or 4 guys we were worried about. Tyler Higbee went to the hospital, apparently spitting up blood, but sounds like he's going to be okay, potentially play next week, and that is really big. The other 2, Akilla Witherspoon and Byron Young, I think they're okay. No updates yet. I'm pretty optimistic they'll be able to play as well. Bobby Brown was another one. Heard he injured his shoulder. It'll probably be another day or 2 before we get a real fix on whether they're going to be able to go. Hey, and how about the inactives in this game? The one thing that caught my eye is Cody Schrader and Royce Freeman were both active. That surprised me. Of course, neither of them got in the game, but I'm kind of happy they're keeping Schrader active. Maybe Freeman's not quite ready to play. Needs to get some more work before they're comfortable giving him 10 or 15 carries, so they keep Schrader active as well. And Keir Thomas did get the nod over Brennan Jackson, and Justin Dedich and Joseph Nopum both inactive. Dylan McMahon was active and actually got in for the kneel downs at the end of the game there. Don't know if you noticed that. Warren McClendon as well. Now, a lot to be excited about. The one thing that really kind of has me a little bit worried is Cooper Kupp continues to be an afterthought in this offense. In his last 4 active games, 10 targets, 5 catches for 82 yards. And, I'm not necessarily worried about it because I think Jordan Whittington, Demarcus Robinson, even Tutu Atwell can pick up the slack. But it's kind of sad is what it is. And, hey, I still love the guy. Hopefully he makes some big catches here in the playoff run. But he seems like an afterthought in this offense right now. And, hey, maybe that'll open up some opportunities for him. Maybe it's a game the Rams are playing. Is that a possibility? Probably not. But it could work in the Rams' favor if they want to spring him loose in a game like this against the Eagles. But something to keep an eye on. Cooper Kupp, man, I'd love for him to make a really big catch in one of these games. That would be really sweet. Because we might be seeing the last of him. I hope not. Hope he comes back, but at his contract price point, that might not be the case. Cooper Kupp, one of the greatest Ram wide receivers ever. I have a feeling his career production will be nipped in the bud a little bit here. But man, he's got some chances here to prove me wrong, and I hope he does. Let's recap this game for you. Rams opening drive. They go 70 yards in 7 plays, capped off with a TD pass to Kyren Williams. This is the play. I mentioned it on the post-game reaction video. Check that out on YouTube. Check that out on Twitter. He kind of embeds himself in the offensive line, disappears from camera view, and then emerges wide open for the touchdown pass. Big plays on that drive, 27 yards to Puka Nacua and 23 yards to Higbee. Rams up 7-0. The Vikings go 3 and out. Byron Young had a sack on 2nd down, so they have to punt. And the Rams add a field goal to go up 10-0. Kyren had a 17-yard run on that drive. Might have been even more, but Bo Limmer called for a personal foul at the end of a play, a pass to Higbee. And by rule, is that a personal foul? It looked like the play was still live, but maybe just a little unnecessary. A 300-pound beast like Bo Limmer laying into an outside linebacker wasn't really necessary. Was it a personal foul? I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. But the Rams are up 10-0. Vikings get on the board with a field goal to make it 10-3. 9 plays, 54 yards. Kobe Turner had his first sack on that drive. Into the second quarter, the Rams' first play of that drive was the controversial one. Not going to call it one of the big plays of the game because it was basically an incomplete pass. This is the strip sack of Stafford, returned for a touchdown that was overturned. It wasn't a fumble, it was a pass, and it wasn't intentional grounding either. Rams did kind of dodge a bullet there, but I think it was the right call. And I know Bill Belichick went on and on about how that's the wrong call, that's messed up. Offenses are given so many protections, makes it so difficult for defenses. But hey, until they change the rule, we're going to roll with that. The Vikings' next drive is extended by a roughing the punter call personal foul on Jake Hummel. Now, a lot of people are saying that he was pushed into the punter. I think it was the right call. Rams seem to be going for a block there. I'll talk about that in our coach's corner. Didn't really seem necessary. Kobe Durant had a sack on this drive before the roughing the punter call. And afterwards, he intercepts Sam Darnold, and the Rams have the ball back. But they can't do anything with it. A 3-and-out. So a lot of that happened in that crazy few minutes there, the sack, the roughing the punter call, and the interception really didn't amount to a whole lot. So after the interception, the Rams go 3-and-out, punt it back to the Vikings, and this is where we have the biggest play of the game. 3rd and 7 from the Rams 38. Darnold looking downfield, Ahkello Witherspoon, a delayed blitz, or maybe he ad-libbed there. Charges Darnold, strip sack, Jared Verse picks it up, 57 yards for the touchdown, and the Rams are up 17-3. And this is probably where the Vikings got a little too desperate, trying to respond before halftime, but it backfires. 4th and 2 at midfield. They go for it, less than 2 minutes left in the game, and Kobe Turner gets to Darnold again, and the Rams have the ball at the Vikings 39 with 1:37 left, and Stafford finds Davis Allen a few moments later for a 13-yard score. Rams up 24-3 at halftime. Second half, Vikings go 3-and-out on their first possession, and then the Rams go 51 yards on 11 plays to add a field goal to go up 27-3. Vikings finally get on the board after that, a TJ Hawkinson touchdown, but they fail on the 2-point conversion, so they still trail 27-9. And that fail, man, I felt so much better about the outcome of this game. If they had been successful there, would have made it 27-11, still within striking distance. Yeah, I never feel totally comfortable until the final whistle. That's how I am. And if it had been 27-11, still would have been pretty nervous about this game. Next 3 possessions all end in punts. One of them 3rd and 8 from the Rams 37. Hoyt and Fisk share a sack, backing the Vikings up to the 50. And that was a big play too, because they could have closed it to 27-12, leaving them down by 15 if Darnold had gotten rid of the ball and they settled for the long field goal. But he's sacked, Rams get the ball back, and a bunch of punts after that, a few more sacks, and the Rams prevail 27-9.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Go to Blinds.com for 40% off site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Let's look at some stats from this game. Halftime stats of note. The Vikings had the ball more, almost 6 minutes more. Rams led in total yardage, 191-119. Vikings had more rushing yards, 58-37. The Rams were 2 out of 3 in the red zone, had the 2 takeaways, and they had already sacked Darnold 6 times by halftime. And, this is a strange game. One of those weird games, the stats do not tell the story, at least a lot of them. Final stats, Vikings ended up with a time of possession edge over 4 minutes. They had more first downs, 20-16. Rams had more total yards, 292-269. And this is partly due to the fact that the Rams were, I think, trying to run the clock, not taking any chances, still trying to be a little aggressive. Got to move the ball, keep the ball as much as possible, and they were successful at that. But they did kind of keep things under wrap to some degree in the second half. They did end up with more total yards, 292-269. Vikings ran 20 more plays than the Rams, 71 plays to the Rams' 51. Their yards per play was only 3.8 to the Rams' 5.7. Darnold actually threw for more yards than Stafford, 245-209. Again, that was largely due to the Rams' offensive approach in the second half. Rams committed 10 penalties for 95 yards, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Higbee was the Rams' leading receiver, 5 catches for 58 yards. Kyren, 16 for 76, a 4.8 average. Cooper Kupp, Just one catch again, one for 29 yards. Kind of a trend I don't like there. There was another game recently he had the exact same stats. 8 different receivers had receptions. The only active guys without a catch, aside from backup running backs anyways, Tutu and Jay Witt. So I was wrong about that. I really thought he would be involved more. And he had some offensive snaps. Don't know what the count is. We talked about the 9 sacks. And what's interesting about that is I think this is an anomaly. 9 sacks and 8 different players notched at least half a sack. Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Gallimore, Durant, Witherspoon, Deshaun Johnson, Michael Hoyt, and Byron Young. And if I told you, let's say you had missed the game, and I said the Rams had 9 sacks last night, how many would you guess Jared Verse had? And he was the one guy that was shut out. But man, he still had an incredible game. Impacted this game as much as any guy on defense, I think. And another telling stat, Justin Jefferson, 5 catches for 58 yards. And I had mentioned one thing the Rams had to do. One of my keys to victory is limit him. You know, if he gets his 80 to 100 yards, I can live with that. Man, the Rams did a great job on him. Akilla Witherspoon, Darius Williams. I think it was mostly Witherspoon, actually. But the pressure on Darnold was a big part of that as well, of course. So what are my fearsome 4 big plays of the game? And, you know, you could go a lot of different directions with this, but I found 4 plays that, for me, from my personal experience watching this game, were the biggest plays of the game. And you know what the first one is? Going chronologically here. The first play from scrimmage for the Rams, Stafford to Puka for 27 yards. Kind of showed what the Rams were going to bring in this game. An aggressive passing attack, Matthew Stafford confident and poised, moving the ball against this Vikings defense. Not necessarily at will, but they moved the ball pretty well until they didn't have to anymore. And you know what? Big play number 1B, that 4th and 1 conversion on the Vikings penalty. One play before the Kyren Williams touchdown. Probably should include that as well. My second big play, this one's pretty easy. Rams lead 10-3. Vikings have a 3rd and 7 from the Rams 38. Witherspoon sacks Sam Darnold. The ball comes loose and Jared Verse scoops it up and gallops 57 yards for the touchdown. And the Rams have a 2-touchdown lead. Biggest play of the game, clearly. And by the way, I am not calling that play where that was overturned, where the Rams apparently gave the ball up to the Vikings, a strip sack returned for their touchdown, because it really wasn't a big play at all, was it? It was a dodged bullet. It was a play that never happened. It was an incomplete pass. My first and big play number 3, after that score by Verse, the Vikings' ensuing drive, they have a 4th and 2 at midfield, less than 2 minutes left, and they decide to go for it. If this had gone a different way, second half could have played out much differently, but Kobe Turner sacks Darnold, and the Rams are set up with the ball at the Vikings 38 with 1:37 left, and they add a touchdown before halftime to go up 24-3. And my 4th big play of the game might seem like a little thing to a lot of people, but for me it was significant. Late in the 3rd quarter, the Vikings have closed to 27-9. They go for 2, and Quentin Lake tackles Justin Jefferson. The 2-point attempt fails, and the Rams maintain that 27-9 lead. And folks, there's a big difference between 27-9 and 27-11. It was at that point that I started to feel really good about the Rams' chances here of sealing this win, and that turned out to be the case. So who gets game balls? This is a tough one, and Sean McVay struggled with this as well in the locker room after the game, pointing out this is as much a team effort as you're ever going to see. Every unit, every member of this team contributing, so it seemed. And I went down my list of guys that I think played well, and I'm going to identify some guys that played well, but I'm not giving game balls to. And that would include Stafford, Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua. Hey, Cooper Kupp had 1 catch for 29 yards, but love the guy, and I love the fact that he's just a team player. He doesn't care. I think all the tight ends other than Higbee played well and don't deserve a game ball. Kind of giving something away there. And Joshua Carty, spot on the whole game. Byron Young, Jared Verse had the biggest play of the game. Darius Williams appeared to play well. We'll see what the grades on him are. Cam Kinchins, Omar Spates. All these guys played really, really well. Every unit really pitched in. But how many game balls am I giving out? 8 game balls. That's right. I'm handing out 8 game balls. Had to send my special assistant to Target. Here we go. Who gets a game ball? Tyler Higbee. What a stud. What a warrior. Rams leading receiver. And he made one spectacular catch, didn't he? The entire offensive line played really well. Kept Matthew Stafford pretty clean. The Vikings got him twice. Once it was because Puka and Alaric Jackson ran into each other. Running game was efficient. It's a pretty productive Vikings defensive front, and the Rams won that battle, the Rams offensive line. Ethan Evans, he had a really good game. And Kobe Turner, sometimes we forget about him with Byron Young and Jared Verse doing a lot of damage, but Kobe Turner is the main piece to that puzzle up front, and he had a great game. And how about Neville Gallimore? Got extra snaps because Bobby Brown was hurt, and he was a beast. Kobe Durant, was it just a couple of games ago? He had 0 snaps, and he comes through with a sack and an interception. And you know who else had a really good game? Akilla Witherspoon. He was all over the place, and hopefully he's okay as well. And Quentin Lake finally getting some recognition thanks to the announcers. Us Ram fans know it, kind of like Kobe Turner. Doesn't make splash plays as much as maybe we hope or expect it, but he is a great player, overlooked, maybe not so much anymore. So those are my game balls, 8 game balls. Tyler Higbee, the entire offensive line, Ethan Evans, Kobe Turner, Neville Gallimore, Kobe Durant, Akilla Witherspoon, and Quentin Lake. And if I miss somebody or somebody else deserves a game ball as well, I kind of feel bad not giving some of these outside linebackers a game ball en masse. Byron Young, Michael Hoyt, Jared Verse. Yeah, they deserve one too. Hey, you know what? Let's just give the entire team a game ball. This was a team win, team effort. Very impressed. Hey, let's talk about the announcers, referees, and coaches in that order. I've never been a big fan of Troy Aikman. He just seems a little bit, dull and drab at times, but I thought he did a good job in this one, and he was giving the Rams tons of props, so kind of liked him for that. And he also called out the refs a bit. Did it in a way that wasn't going to draw a lot of attention to the fact that he was calling out the refs. I'll put it that way. And as for the refs, I don't think they had a good day. They got the Stafford fumble, non-fumble call correctly, did what they had to do with that one. And they got the review of Kyron Williams' non-fumble right as well. But that hold on Jordan Whittington, what are they doing? And even the penalty on Bo Limmer could have very easily been a non-call. The one on Jake Hummel, I'll give him a pass on that. That hold on Jordan Whittington, though, what are we doing here? And then they don't call the clear pass interference on the long pass to Hunter Long. The defender did not turn to look for the ball, just put his hands on Hunter Long's face, never made him play for the ball. To me, that was pass interference. And there was another odd play, actually went in the Rams' favor. Basically, Matthew Stafford called face masking on the Vikings, and the refs rolled with it. And as for the coaching, man, I can have one minor criticism. It looked like we were going for a blocked punt on the play that Jake Hummel was called for roughing the punter, the personal foul. I didn't like going for a block there, but that aside, there are a lot of things I liked. And, in that Packers-Eagles game, one of my sports pet peeves recently, I don't know why the Packers and other teams do this all the time, fielding a punt with like 15 seconds left in the half at the 10-yard line, their own 10-yard line. What is the point of that? It could turn into a disaster with no upside. And the Rams got the memo. Vikings punting, not sure when that was, but the Rams had a good lead at the time, a safe lead. Vikings punt, the Rams don't have anybody back there. Go ahead. We don't care where it goes, where it lands. We're not going to try to field that punt. Now, that's the trivial stuff, but let's get to the big stuff. Man, is Sean McVay a leader of men or what? His locker room speech after this game, I wanted to drive to Philadelphia and start tackling Eagle fans, and I just might do that. And by the way, Stafford, quite the leader as well. But Sean McVay had this team pumped and ready to play, and I think he's going to have them ready to play Philadelphia as well. And how about Chris Shula? Is he feeling it right now as a defensive play caller? That was really impressive. He's come a long way. You know, early in the year here, we're questioning, myself included, is he the right guy for the job? And how does Sean McVay fire his buddy? We've come a long way from that. Even Troy Aikman suggesting that he may be a head coaching hire elsewhere. That's not going to happen. It's too soon for him. But maybe if he continues to coach up this defense and call defensive plays like he did last night against the Vikings, do it for another year, emerge as one of the best DCs in the league, it's possible. He's a young guy. Head coaching could be in his future. Too early to tell, but man, really impressed with how far along he's come and how far along this defense has come. Pretty good match. A really young, up-and-coming defensive coordinator with all these young studs on defense. Man, really good future for this Rams defense. And by the way, we're really impressed with where this offense is, and we're really impressed with how far this defense has come since the beginning of the year when they were getting gashed by receivers and running backs alike. How about the improvement on special teams? We need to give a shout out to Chase Blackburn. He has Ethan Evans and Joshua Carty, and let's not forget about Alex Ward. They are playing really good football, our special teams unit. A liability last year, a horrible liability, one of the worst special teams units in the history of the National Football League. And look at them now. Give the players a lot of credit, but hey, maybe it's time we give a shout out to Chase Blackburn, and that's what I'm doing right here. We can only deduce he's doing a great job. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.